Welcome, everyone, to the Seance at the Whitney. Thank you for joining us once again. This is our 10th day of the murder mystery that we're trying to solve. So strap in. You never know what's going to happen today. But we're going to start with a little bit of housekeeping. Here's the nightly schedule. We're starting a little late tonight. So everybody understand we're going to be playing a little fast and loose with this tonight, but I'll try to stick pretty close to it. And we are not having an event on February 14th because, February 14th. Okay, the Seance at the Whitney is an interactive indie author virtual book festival featuring author readings, an interactive improv mystery game where you guys get to play along, and book giveaways every night. We have a pretty stellar scroll filled with authors, and they've got amazing books to share. So check them out when you hear their readings. Tonight, our two gentlemen authors reading for you. Jamie Samland is going to start with Grave Mistakes, and Christopher Gare is going to follow up with Snow Angels in the Dust. That's supposed to be a T, not a K. Sometimes the spirits make us do typos and we don't catch them in time. So we'll get to that. But we're going to start with Jamie Samland, where look at you right in the center of my screen. Didn't even have to look very far for you. So, sir, when you are ready, pretty please, the microphone and read aloud.
All right. So this is from Grave Mistakes, pretty deep into the novel, but anyway, here we go. A veil of shadow swallowed Eleanor the moment she opened the door. Gabriella shouted after her, and Brynmore even jumped forward with an arm outstretched, for as much good as that did. That was dramatic, he said. I'm starting to see what Lord Sebastian meant. Gabriella stepped near enough to the door to touch the black curtain across the doorframe. Do we follow? I suppose we should, right? She seems to need help getting through here. What choice do I have? I hope you go. Brynmore softened his words with a wink. She hesitated, but couldn't why. The darkness, or unknown, never gave her pause before. So why now? She shook it away. If Eleanor were in danger, then she would help her. And that too was as enemies. It was no reason to refuse aid to another. Gabriella clicked her tongue, tugging Carmel after her, and stepped through the veil. The blaring sun blinded her after so long in the dim tower. Gabriella raised a hand to her brow and squinted, slowly recognizing the colorful stalls of the Maitara marketplace. There was even the fountain where she'd first seen Brynmore atop his majestic palomino. Unlike that day last week, the market was now empty of the bustling crowd. A comforting silence pressed into Gabriella's ears as she spun a slow circle, taking in the details she missed when the mass of shoppers overwhelmed her. The flaking paint, the sun-bleached tiles, the water stains around the ice vendor. When she returned to the direction she'd started, three figures in oversized leather coats, just like Eleanor's, stood behind a booth. Their faces were smooth white, glistening in the sun from where they stood, shaded behind a stall. What fresh hell is this? Brynmore gasped. Gabriella tucked Carmel's lead across his neck and approached. Good afternoon, princess, one said, though she couldn't guess which. Good afternoon, she said, waving at the three white cups laid upside down on the counter before them. What's going on here? We debated if it was necessary to put you through the trials based on your parentage. We decided we must. Because this is my mother's tower? Your mother is half your parentage. Gabriella's mother never spoke of her father, changing the subject whenever the conversation went in that direction. It instilled a healthy lack of interest in Gabriella. Was Eleanor through here? She had a coat just like yours. The three shook their plain heads. She is elsewhere. Do not worry about the well-being of her at the moment. To continue, you must find 3 keys hidden in the market. The middle figure waved at the cups. Queen's cups, Brynmore said at her side. It's a hustle they try at all the sleazy ends. You have to watch closely. The three stared at Brynmore for a moment, even without eyes. That is not the game. The figure in the center touched the cups with white porcelain hands, sliding them across the counter, exchanging their positions. Gabriella followed the center one, but quickly lost track of which started on the left. It pulled its hands away, flourishing them across the 3 cups. Where is the first key? You're supposed to show where it started, said Brynmore. This is not your challenge, Marquess. He's right, though. Wait. Gabriella couldn't stop the grin that slid across her lips. Oh, you're sneaky. You already told me where the keys are. What? Asked Brynmore. It's in this market, Gabriella said. The middle figure held out a golden key. Clever. Gabrielle accepted. As her fingers touched it, the figure compressed and disappeared as if sucked into the key with a puff of wind. Gods and saints! I'm looking forward to seeing that happen twice more, Brynmore groaned. The two figures shuffled to close the gap between them. The one on the left flicked away the middle cup. Well done, princess, well done, one said. You may ask us a single question and lift only one cup. Only one chance to find the second key, which is under one of these. Be wary. One of us will always lie, and the other speaks only the truth. Ah, that's an old one, said Brynmore. A child's riddle. Ask one what the other would say. That way you know the lie is included in the answer. Then do the opposite. Everyone knows that. Let me do this, Brynmore. Gabriella studied the two cups, then the two blank places where the faces should be behind them. Her grin twisted to something feral. She slapped her hand on the second cup. You have to ask them something, yelled Brynmore. Are you sure? Asked the figure. Gabriella nodded, pulling her hand back to rest the palm on the wooden counter. Ask them a question, Gab. There's no need or no use, she said. The tower wants us to fail unless we think differently. So you leave it to our fate to a flip of the coin? Fine, she said. What happens if I'm wrong and we don't find all three keys? You will remain here forever. Gabriella nodded. A white hand pulled away the cup, revealing the bronze skeleton key under it. The slender fingers grasped it, offering it to Gabriella. She took it, and the figure was again sucked into the key. Oh, the one giving the riddles lied, said Gabriella. I had all the questions I wanted and could lift both cups if I chose. But no, how could you have known that? Gabriella shrugged. I didn't know for sure, but it makes sense. I didn't know. You didn't know that, but you were confident. Gods and saints, Gab, you are difficult to understand. Are you ready for the third key? Asked the sole remaining figure. Sure, said Gabriella. A favorite of the tower, a riddle. In moonlit nights, when spirits wake, I emerge from the shadows, a mischief I make. With ghostly whispers and spectral grace, I haunt old halls and abandoned space. What am I? Hello, Brynmore waved a ghostly hand in front of Gabriella. She waved him off. That's too obvious. Dreams, maybe? Is that your answer? Asked the figure. No, just talking out loud. If the other two were about subverting an expectation, then so would this, said Brynmore. Don't overthink it. Fine, you're a ghost. I am that, Gabs. I am, it said in a voice Gabriella knew too well. It pressed the silver key against her palm, and the figure in the rest of the market pulled into it. She, Brynmore, and Carmel stood in a void lit only by a wide beam of light shining over them. A small, frail girl with rags for clothes and dark hair that clung close to her tan face stepped in from the darkness. She looked nothing like how Gabriella had ever seen her, but instantly recognized her. Aura! Brynmore gasped. They made me, Gabs. They made me do it. Gabriella rushed forward, taking Aura by the shoulders. She felt cold and clammy, not the usual gentle resistance a ghost should have, like pushing on a bladder. Aura's body was solid, real. Who? What did they make you do? Brynmore circled the pair, eyeing Aura with confusion and clear awe. It can work. This isn't resurrection, Brynmore. At least, I don't think it is. Aura, what happened? Aura stared at the floor, only flicking her gaze to meet Gabriella's for an instant. You don't even know him, Gab. But here we are. You never would have done all this for me. We had to leave Lord Sebastian because of you, said Brynmore. Gab doesn't owe you anything. Gabriella bit her lip, fingers fiddling with the amulet at her throat. This is different with him, Aura. We have his body to put him back into. You never tried for me, Gabs. Never tried. You always seemed so content as a ghost. I never thought you wanted more. She tied me to you, kept me from moving on, forced me to stay, driving me mad. Mama. Gabriella knew her mother bound Aura to her, but never considered the motive. There was a lot more about those close to her that she didn't know. Ta-da.
For those of you who are familiar with the Indie Reads Aloud podcast, shameless plug, Jamie is featured this month. There are 4 books that he's read in a series on that program, so check it out at Indie Reads on Spotify and YouTube. Check that out. It's super fun to have authors read out loud to me, so I want to share that with you. Okay, coming up next, Christopher Gare. We're going to share the screen again just to remind you what his beautiful little face looks like. Here we go. Christopher Gare, there he is. So Grave Mistakes was read by Jamie Samland, and Christopher Gare is going to read Snow Angels in the Dust, not dusk, dust. Christopher, real quick setup, and then when you're ready, take the microphone.
Okay. This is going to be hopefully out probably in June. So I'm still in the editing process right now. I managed to get a couple chapters edited. This is going to be the setup for the entire book, what I'm going to try and read tonight. It is a companion novel to Butterflies I Have Known, meaning that two of the characters, they weren't main characters in Butterflies. This is part of their story after that particular book. So here we go. Christian powered up his laptop and plugged the thumb drive into the side of the machine. A single file folder contained a lone video file. He double-clicked on the icon. Milton Glass's face appeared on the screen. Christian guessed his former employer must have recorded the message after returning from Detroit a week ago. Hello, Christian. I'm sorry I'm not there to discuss this with you in person. I'd hoped to be. Only as you may have guessed from our time together, things don't always go to plan. Still, I have no complaints. I lived a very full life, and you played a part in helping me right a wrong 70 years in the searching. I won't forget that, your kindness, or you. But there's another wrong out there, one I wasn't able to assist with. The short version? I have one more job for you. And now the longer version. A veteran contacted me a couple of weeks ago. You'll find copies of his correspondences and my replies in the box Rebecca provided you, along with other documentation you'll need. You'll forgive me for presuming you'll continue on with this, but I figure if you came this far, your interest has been piqued. The man who contacted me is one of perhaps tens of thousands who fought in Vietnam and fathered a child there. Some of these servicemen died in the line of duty, were injured and returned home, or left and abandoned the women they were with, as well as the children born to them. Some of these families were reunited, most weren't, and some hoped word would never reach home because of what it could mean for them and their families back here in the States. It was a different time, Christian, and while that doesn't excuse anything, the circumstances do help with understanding it. Master Sergeant Dale L. Ricci wrote to me and asked for my help in finding out what happened to a child he fathered there. Dale left before his son was born and, because of a woman waiting for him back home who he married shortly after returning, never contacted his son or former girlfriend. The mother of his child, Hyann, tried many times to reach him based on what little information she had, only her letters went unanswered. Dale received them and made the choice not to reply. The letters stopped for a good many years. Then the army base where he'd been stationed reached out to him. Hyann was desperate to get word to him. Their son, then 22, had been severely beaten, was in and out of a coma, and might not live. She pleaded with him to come and at least see him once with his own eyes in case he never woke up again. That was 30 years ago. Dale never went, and this decision has haunted him ever since. He already felt guilty enough abandoning them, but to not go in what might have been a matter of life or death, especially knowing how the children of these GIs were treated? Still, he kept his silence. His wife here recently passed, and he wants to know what happened. He wants to know if his son's story continued or if it ended. I chose you to work for me, Christian, because your project management skills are second to none and equal to your ability to perform research for other clients over the years, including myself. You're discreet. You have instincts and aren't afraid to act on those instincts, which has taken you further than most. I need your discretion and instincts now, not for Dale, though he will most assuredly benefit from your skills, but rather for you. There is a mystery here in what happened to his child, but an even greater mystery for you to solve, and one I feel you will recognize when you see it. Please, look at everything I provided for you here before you make your decision. I wouldn't ask this of you if I didn't feel it important. You helped me, and even though I'm gone now, I want to help you. I'm giving you access to all my resources. You know what some of them are, and Rebecca will email you the list of the others if you request it. They're at your disposal with my full blessing. I have no doubt you will use them wisely. Take care of yourself, Christian. Remember what I told you about having faith, and with a little luck, we'll see each other again one day, and you can tell me how this all turns out. The picture turned black as Mr. Glass clicked the button to end recording. Christian continued to nibble on his sub while he perused the rest of the contents inside the box. Early letters from Hyann offered details as to her health, how her pregnancy progressed, and how hard she worked to put away money for when she could no longer continue cooking for a local restaurant once she went into labor. She never pushed to go to him or for him to bring her over to the U.S. Hyann was proud of her heritage and of her life in Vietnam. She then wrote of their son, Con, his birth, how he resembled a little of each of them in his looks and personality, and eventually her fears. Many children born to Caucasian fathers and Vietnamese mothers were being ostracized by the public. Christian could almost hear her voice in his mind and the fear in it. Finally, after nearly a year of letters, she feared Dale either dead or no longer interested in her and their offspring, something she expressed she didn't understand. There were 14 letters, each spaced a month apart, and then one more 22 years later. Dale, I pray this letter find you. Not for my sake, but for Con. I can only think you have forgotten us, and while I accept you forgetting me, you should know about Con. He is your flesh and blood. Do not concern yourself about my life. I have learned to live with how things are, and they are partially my doing for making the decision to be with you when you were here. But it is not Con's fault for being born. Con was the sweetest boy and very hardworking. You would be proud of him. People here have made problems for him in the past. They have called him names, hit him, spit on him, and made much trouble. 3 men, a father and his 2 sons, beat Con 3 nights ago on his way home from work and left him by the side of the road. The police took him to the hospital where, except for one brief moment, he has been in a coma. The doctors say he may not wake up again. You were not there when Con was born, and you have not been there in his life. I ask you to come to him now and talk to him. He will hear your voice, listen to you, and know his father does love and care about him. Please give him that. You don't have to see me. Just see your son. Please. I don't know if this will mean anything to you, but the morning after he arrived at the hospital, I was holding his hand when he opened his eyes and whispered a name. I don't know this person, or where Con may have heard it. Nobody knows, and he has not woken up again since. Do you know the name Noah Lottie? Do you know who this person is and why he is so important that our son spoke his name? Con may not have much time left, and he waits to see you. Please come to see him. Hyann. Christian knocked his chair over, standing up and dashing for the bathroom. He didn't have a chance of lifting the toilet seat up before the inevitable happened, so he leaned into the shower stall, and every bit of his sub sandwich shot back up his throat and out onto the tile below. He retched for a solid 30 seconds, then slowly sunk to his knees, his energy completely sapped. Nothing left to throw up either. Just the bitter taste of the last 24 hours, the passing of Milton Glass, dealing with a lawyer who knew more than she should, and now this. The name that shouldn't be, that couldn't be. How was it possible someone 32 years ago on the other side of the world spoke that name? How?
Yes, how? Tell us
Okay,
how.
But
Ah.
but yeah, you're leaving us there? It's very
Yes.
unfair of you. Very unfair of you.
Only have to wait 4 months.
Only 4 months. Do you have cover art yet?
No, the my cover artist has gotten all the information. I'm assuming probably in the next 2 weeks she'll probably have something for me.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks again for your reading, and whoever wins this book on the spinning wheel of happiness tonight, you're in for a rare treat because you're going to get one of the first books off the press when it becomes available. So make sure if your name comes up, you still send me your address so we can make sure to get your book to you when it happens. Jamie Samland, thank you so much for your reading. Do you have a copy of Grave Mistakes that you can show everybody?
I do. Right there.
Yes. And again,
A necromantic adventure.
shameless plug, check out the Indie Reads Aloud podcast and you'll be able to hear more from Jamie and, for that matter, more from Christopher as well. Okay, time to share the screen and get on with the silliness. Okay, here we go. The Seance at the Whitney. For those of you who have been elsewhere for the last 9 days, let me see if I can catch you up to speed. At the Ghost Bar inside the Whitney Manor and historic Detroit estate, a world-famous psychic medium has come for an exclusive invitation-only seance. With so many curious about spiritualism around the world, This event promises to connect the living and the spirit worlds, opening doors to mysteries that transcend time and space. But when the seance spirals into a chilling rendezvous with a vengeful spirit and a shocking murder, it falls upon those in attendance to unravel the truths hidden in the darkest depths of the past. A spirit is summoned, vowing revenge on their killer. One of the guests becomes hysterical, claiming the spirit is there for them. Suddenly, the lights start flickering, and the wind pushes the windows open, extinguishing the candles around the room. The room and everyone in it are thrust into darkness. When the light returns, that same hysterical guest is lying on the floor, dead. Who killed him? Why? Was it the furious spirit or some far more earthly reason? All right, you guys. The cast members that you'll be interrogating all month long are the medium, played by the great Christopher Gare. The assistant is Donna Newman. The author is Amy Kelso. The socialite, Dawn Menge. The spouse, Jules Nelson. She is not in the room tonight, so save your questions for her. She'll be back on Monday. The fan, Marianne Wieland. The aloof guest, Gary Floyd. The maitre d', Melinda Falgo. And I am your storyteller. If you missed last night's episode, go check it out in replay. We gave you a legend of the Whitney that I found at the Detroit Library. Lots of interesting information in there, and I'm sure, because we ran out of time last night, I'm sure we have more questions for everybody in our cast. So turn on your microphones, and when we're ready, we're going to start the craziness. Who has the first question of the evening? Anybody?
Oh, the heck with it.
Okay, go, Christopher.
Okay. Going over this in my head, the only character who we really don't know anything about is Gary. Gary,
The aloof guest.
what can you tell us about you?
I don't know, is that I just keep going in and out of things. Is I kind of woke up in this seance. I don't even know how I got in the seance.
Where are you from?
I'm unsure.
So you don't remember anything about your past?
He's encountering a lot of amnesia, it would seem, because that's been his standard answer since we started this 9 days ago.
I do know that recently in the ghost bar is I do recognize of sensing the spirits of Dave and Clyde.
That would be David Whitney,
I believe so.
Amy's great-grandfather, as we heard in the legend last night. And Clyde, we remember him from the legend as well. That would be Clyde Berkson, according to my notes. Amy, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to clarify. You remember watching those two people fencing? Is that what you just said?
No, it's basically I sensed them in the room.
Oh, you sense them as if they're now here in the room.
Yes, and you know,
Okay.
but at the way that things are going in the ghost bar, there just keeps seeming bodies just seem to pile up here.
Okay, so what you're implying is that perhaps these ghosts are still hanging out, maybe still fencing, as far as what you can
I
sense.
did sense something there.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood what you were sensing. Thank you.
Okay, Marianne, go ahead.
You know what? I have sat here and listened to all of you peons and dirty birds whining and carrying on about, I'm innocent, I did this and you did that, you did this and that. And I want you to know that there's about to be another murder committed here tonight, because all of you are boring me to death. I am reduced to looking at my occupant mail that I brought with me. We got this, we got that. We don't have anything that's worth anything here. And I've been reduced. Oh my goodness. Oh, oh my God, this is from the foundation of the Great One. could this be what I'm waiting for? The pictures that I wanted. Oh my God, this is from his foundation. The Oh Brother, Where Art Thou Foundation. Oh my gosh. Let me look. Oh, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh, I can't breathe. Oh my gosh. Oh, look what I got. Look what I got. Oh, great one. Oh, great one. Oh, I bow to you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey,
thank God she
somebody-
finally got a picture.
Melinda, get the
Don't
maid
me for
in
that.
here. Get the maid in here and give her
Nobody
a glass
better
of water.
steal this.
We're having a hard time.
Nobody better steal this. Somebody got my wedding ring, but you're not going to get this picture. Somebody better not take this. Keep my ring. No, don't get my picture. Get it? Get it? Leon, you got it?
Sure, your husband will love to hear that. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Gary, is that
I
you?
just want to have a comment to Mary Ann, is that it's some medium. All I know is that he managed to conjure up the ghost of a squirrel that went into the house of a poor writer in Massachusetts.
Peons,
Okay,
all of you. All of you.
all right. Okay, that was fun. Melinda, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You've been working at the Whitney for quite some time. You've been connected to the family for quite some time, as we've been told throughout the past 9 days. Are you married, or are you currently in a significant relationship?
The most significant relationship I have is, of course, to the Whitney and the Whitney family. I would do anything to guard the reputation of this fine establishment and to protect the Whitney name.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Mackenzie wants to know, would you kill for them?
No.
I sense a little hesitation in that answer. Okay. Any other questions from anyone out there? Amy, you've got your hand up.
Sorry, Mackenzie, one from a little while back said, I find it a little suspicious. Oh, wait, not that one. That it says, Miss Kelso, why are you so certain the legend is just a legend? It seems to be just become more true and true. Well, I don't know for sure, but from what I know of the noble Whitney family, I just can't imagine anybody in our family doing such a thing, because we are all truthful and honest above everything else. That's very important to us.
Family values.
Exactly.
It's a thing. Anyone else have questions? Gary, go ahead.
It doesn't sound too open and honest there if you're the granddaughter of Dave. And he had a pretty shady past.
I'm saying he didn't. I don't, well, okay. I don't know. I know that everything I know about the family is that we are open and honest above all else.
Well, it kind of makes sense that David Whitney is the patriarch of the family, probably wouldn't share his affinity for thievery with his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. That would seem to track with me. So it's possible Amy doesn't even know the legend. Did you just hear the legend for the first time last night?
I've heard some rumors about some silly things, but I never paid any attention. So yeah, it was the first time I heard the rumor or the legend in full. And I just have to address in the chat, Mackenzie said, so did you kill your brother?
Yeah, did you?
Why would I kill my own dear brother? What a crazy question to even ask.
Well, you were arguing.
And brothers and sisters argue all the time.
Well, truth. My siblings are still alive. So, okay, I'll give you that one. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Miranda, did I see your hand up? Go ahead. Turn your microphone on.
Yeah, Amy, I wanted to ask you a question. Yeah, I don't see Jules here tonight. Is she
No,
here?
she is not here tonight.
Okay, then you could be completely honest, Amy. Tell us, did Was there something funny going on between Jules and Richard? Like, was one of them having an affair on the other? Do you have any suspicions about that? Like, how was their relationship?
I have no idea if there was ever any affairs. That was none of my business. Just in general, though, how their relationship was, I could tell. Obviously, Jules loved Richard. You could tell. I mean, we knew that back when we were kids. I never really felt like Richard felt quite the same about her. I think that there's perhaps another love in his life that he lost and never forgot. And maybe she was just a rebound kind of thing. But don't tell her I said that, okay?
Okay,
Oh, tell her.
we'll keep that
You might
quiet.
not watch the film.
No,
Don't
she
watch
won't
it,
watch.
Jules.
Donna, I have a question for you.
Okay.
We know the great Christopher usually conducts his seances with a crystal ball or two. Does he usually use all the additional props as well? The skull, the incense, feathers, coins, and other trinkets? Or is the table usually empty? Can you tell us a bit about that?
I can tell you that this was a seance that I've never seen. It was completely different than any seance he's ever done prior to this one. I mean, first of all, he was given instructions. I've never seen him given instructions. And I mean, and that's on top of the huge envelope full of cash. So the trinkets that were there were not the normal trinkets that he used. It was just a completely different. I don't know. I don't feel like it was the normal seance that
So there
would
was
normally used to him.
a lot of strangeness afoot.
Yes.
It seems. Amy Kelso, go ahead.
Okay, it keeps being brought up, and somebody's got to ask. The skull. Did anyone look at that? Was it a real skull? Was it a prop? Why was it there? Seems like nobody knows. So I guess I don't know who I'm going to ask that.
The great
Just
Christopher, can you answer that question? Did you recognize the skull before? Did you see it on the table and then on the floor? Did anyone else see it removed from the table? Could it have been used as the murder weapon? Great Christopher, I pose this question to you on Amy's behalf.
No.
No to which part of that question?
Yes.
Maybe.
Ask somebody else. Donna.
Donna, do you know anything about the
Do
skull?
you know anything about the
Did
skull?
you see it get moved or used?
Not, and I said he rarely used those kinds of props. It was completely different than anything I'd ever seen him do before. It was almost as if it was staged.
Interesting.
So could it be, just throwing it out there, maybe the skull of our dear Nora, that maybe he was able to summon her through the skull? Just throwing it out for
there's
people
an
to think
interesting
about.
theory. A very interesting theory. Gary, go ahead.
Christopher, did anybody help set up the table with the props that you were aware of?
I
Oh, did
came
you
in.
set up?
I came in and everything was already set up for me. So I have no idea who did it.
All right.
Melinda, did you help with it?
No, that is not my department, unfortunately.
Who's the skull department?
Skull department. I like it. I like it. Any other
Mackenzie had a
questions?
question.
Okay, Mackenzie had a question. That was?
She had asked if she asked the great Christopher exactly what were the instructions.
The instructions for what
The
specifically?
seance. I'm
Well,
assuming.
I don't know. No? Okay. I was given the money for this. Or murdering the victim, your choice. Really? I was given the guest list. I was given the instructions for contacting owners of the Whitney in order to have the seance here. And I was told who I should be channeling.
Were you given any additional instructions about why you were supposed to be channeling Nora? He's checking his notes.
I have to check my notes on this.
The great Christopher checking his notes.
Only because she was supposed to be seeking revenge on the person who killed her, who I can only assume was here tonight.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Anyone? Oh, Donna, go ahead. Donna Newman.
I actually have a question for Melinda. You know, as Great Christopher's assistant, I'm usually the person who comes into the room and makes sure everything is there prior to the thing and everything was already done. Who sets up the room? Like who does that normally, sets up the room for, like, if we were going to have an event? If
I
it's
mean,
not you.
That would be my staff. If we get an order in from somebody for a particular event, we are given instructions on their needs and we are always sure to fulfill them. However, this was a very unusual instance. We received no information, or at least I didn't. This, as far as I knew, went through Jules and Richard, and they took the money and said that we were having this seance. I got the odd invitation to sit at the seance. I still haven't been explained to why I am sitting at this. I really should be working. But other than that, I am not sure who set up this entire event.
So, not the tightest ship in the world over there at the Whitney. Gary, go ahead.
This is for Melinda. Does that mean that maybe Jules could have helped set that up?
I suppose that's entirely possible, but beyond that, I have no knowledge of it.
Okay. Mandy Jo, go ahead.
Wasn't it said earlier that Dawn or Troy set this up? So did Dawn create the tables, decorate the table?
Don, we know
Yes.
that as Troy, you came in disguise tonight as Don. It was also mentioned, Don, that you did hire Christopher. Are you the one who arranged for the stuff on the table as well?
No, I did not.
Did you give Christopher instructions about what was supposed to be done? Who he was supposed to channel? Did you give him instructions about why he was supposed to channel a specific person?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us just a little bit about why you would want him to channel Nora?
Well, as we've all discovered, we have a past. All of us are connected in our past. And I recognized the great Christopher from my past, and I thought he would be the best person to try to help me solve the mystery of my disappearance of my beloved Nora. But I had a question. So they were having I know Jules is not here, so maybe someone else could answer. I overheard the argument that he had wished that he had married Nora. Does anybody know why they did not get married?
I didn't think Nora was mentioned by name. He referred to somebody as her. She's not her, not Nora. I don't think Nora's name was mentioned.
Good catch. You're right. Her name was not mentioned. So
although I would not be surprised if that was what he was talking about as his sister. I could imagine that, but he did not say it. So
they did play a lot together as friends, right?
And I could feel his interest otherwise as well.
Okay.
Just say that.
Christopher, the great one. Everyone else seems to be strangely connected around this table. With the exclusion, we've already established that Donna doesn't have a connection of any kind. Do you have a personal connection or history to the deceased Richard Whitney?
Possibly. I attended Detroit Country Day School with Richard Whitney and Troy Haynes for a brief time. That's why I thought Dawn was Troy's doppelganger on day one. But I didn't finish at Detroit Country Day. I moved with my family to Seattle, when my father got relocated and finished at public school. That suited me just fine since I found the egos of private school kids like Amy Kelso difficult at best. I hate egos. The kids there found me condescending. That means I talk down to people.
You're just jealous.
Okay. We have time for one more question tonight. Amy, go ahead.
Okay. Mary Ann, we were talking last night about the beautiful ring. I know you're so happy about the picture, but we were talking about apparently your wedding ring that you took off during the seance. Now, I just want to make sure you said you took off the ring because it was too tight.
Yes.
And you put it in your pocket. So first of all, I would like to know, when did you take it off? What point during the seance did you take that off?
I took it off before the seance started. It was bothering my finger, so I took it off and put it in my pocket.
Because
I was just so excited about being near the Great One. And when I found I was sitting between you, Dirty Bird, and Donna Newman, and not next to the Great One where Gary Floyd was sitting, because I'm left-handed. I wanted to comfort the Great One. If after all of this went, I should have had his seat.
I find
But
it very
my ring disappeared.
I
My
find
ring
it very interesting that in the presence of the Great One, you would want to hide your
wedding ring?
marriage to your husband. That's an interesting point, taking off the wedding ring.
Well,
And
All
the
right.
Great One is
one
the
other
best.
point, one other point on the ring, just to let you guys ponder, is it was flattened on one side. And I wonder if maybe when it got flattened, when you were holding a crystal ball, is perhaps why you took it off, because it was too tight. Just something to think about.
Do you have an answer for that, Marianne?
I do not have an answer for that. I did put it in my pocket and it disappeared. It was not flattened when it disappeared. I'm thinking possibly Miss Newman stepped on it when she was nosing around wherever she found it.
Okay. Food for thought. Excellent. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. We now come to the end of another interrogation session. If your questions did not get answered tonight, please save them and bring them back tomorrow so that we can ask more questions and ferret out more clues. Who did it? Remember, ask your questions, collect your clues. At the end of the month, there will be a form on the website where you can sling your accusations. We will reveal all at the big reveal party on the 29th. In the meantime, if you hear someone say, I have nothing to say about that, remember that it means it could be a red herring that you heard. Watch the replays posted on our website and Facebook and intensely scrutinize them, because you just never know what is being put out there that might help you figure out who done it. Wax drippings, here we go, guys. The math has been fixed. So moving forward, Christopher Gare, you're in first place still. Jules Nelson is in second. Andrew Allen Smith is in third. Deborah Reed is in fourth. And so 7 points in fifth place. Yeah. Remember, the top 5 authors who collect the most wax drippings will get snazzy medals at the end. All right. It's time for Talismans from the Spirits. As you well know, every night we give away copies of books, and we give away those books that were read throughout the evening. If your name comes up on the spinning wheel of happiness, please make sure that you send me, excuse me, send me your mailing address to diana@pagespromotions.com, and we'll make sure those books get sent out to you. We're going to ship them by March 5th, so you'll receive them shortly thereafter. If you don't receive your books by the end of March, please send me an email, and I will send the Bloodhounds out to track down those books.
With the exception of mine, which will be June.
Thank you. I was just going to say that. So Christopher's book will go out in June because it's brand new and it hasn't even been delivered yet. It's not even an infant. It hasn't even been delivered yet. And Jamie Samlin's book, Grave Mistakes. We are giving that book away tonight as well. So we're going to give away Jamie's book first. I'm going to put the spinning wheel of happiness on the screen so we can see what's going on. Okay, here we go. Giveaway for Jamie's book. I hope the sound works. Yeah. But you know what? We have a rule here that says you have to be in the room to get your prize. Elizabeth Thomas is not in the room. And that means we're going to spin the wheel again for Jamie Samlin's book. So let me share that wheel with you one more time. Technology is great. There we go. Okay, here it is one more time. The best Kermit I do, guys. I don't do a better Kermit than that. Okay, the next giveaway spinny wheel of happiness spin is going to be for Christopher's book, which I'm going to remind you one more time is called, Christopher, I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to let you tell us the title.
Snow Angels in the Dust.
Perfect. And it comes out in June. He'll send you a little thing in an email to let you know that it's coming, but it's coming. So here it is. Can you believe that? It was so close, and Diana's not in the room tonight, so you guys get another opportunity. We're going to spin it one more time.
Just real quick. You lied.
Congratulations, Christopher, but you don't get to win your own book. Amy, were you going to say something before I spin it one last time?
Jen Rinaldi was just checking to see, did you call her very first? Or did you not?
No.
I think she may have. Okay, we just want to make sure.
Yep, Donna won that copy. Okay, here we go. Christopher, we're going to see if we can give away your book this time. Hold on. You want a book? Chat. Congratulations. You get a brand new book. Yay. Okay, so again, remember, even if you think I already have your mailing address, send it to me again because my email is my to-do list. So make sure you get that to me. Also, I want to remind everybody before we sign off tonight that on February 29th, we will have our big reveal party, and it's extravagant hat night. We will be giving away a prize for the mostest creative extravagant hat. So start those sewing endeavors now. Okay, we're really cutting it close because we started late, so we're just going to do shots across the bow, and then I'm going to let you all go and have your evenings. So Melinda, shots across the bow, ma'am.
Christopher, amazing.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Gary, shots across the bow.
The story just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah, I've been told I'm weird on so many occasions.
In the best way.
Wow, thanks. We all know that's not true, but okay. Marianne Whelan, shots across the bow.
I think the readings were really, really good tonight. I'm wishing I had won all the books, but there you have it. I didn't.
Okay.
I did win Amy's book, and I'm happy about that. And she's really not a dirty bird. So,
wow. And I'm thinking you already won because you got an 8x10 colored glossy from the Great Christopher.
did.
So.
Oh yes, and I will cherish it forever.
I'm thinking you already won. Don Menge, if you're still in the room, did she bounce? Yep,
left.
she bounced. Okay. Donna Newman, shots across the bow.
The fact is that I'm the one who should be thanked because I'm the one who sent his 8x10 to you because I'm his assistant.
Cool. So you understand how the mail works. Awesome. Right. And I guess that brings us to Miss Kelso. Shots across the bow, ma'am.
I don't have anything, but I do want to read Kenzie's thing. It says, because you were talking about being weirder, she said, but nothing has been weirder than Miss Whelan and her reaction to a photo of Mr. Gare. What?
You know what, Mackenzie? I'm gonna give that one to you. That you're
I think
right.
that kind of covers everything there.
That kind of wins. Amy, did you have any last thoughts?
No, but I can't top that.
All right. Awesome. Thank you everybody for your time tonight. I do appreciate it. You guys are making this a really fun month for me. And now that it's starting to get cold in Michigan again, I really, really appreciate you guys making me laugh every night. It's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Come on back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. And don't forget to watch those replays. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.